past several years, JS Company Productions has worked closely with IndieTV.com to produce some of the most memorable feature films, book trailers, and interviews online. Join us now for an exclusive look into the creative minds behind IndieTV.com.
John was on the cusp of releasing his latest novel, Return to Treasure Island, and he was in desperate need of finding a video producer to handle the entire media packet for the project.
I first met James in 2009, and we hit it off right away. The first thing that I thought about was, wow, he'd be the perfect person to film the Return to Treasure Island trailer. So that was the first project that we picked.
The only catch was, being recruited so late in the game, they literally only gave me 2 weeks to cast, build, shoot, edit, produce, and release the entire media bundle for this particular project.
And James was great. He set up the whole shoot, he got all the actors, he helped me write the script, and more importantly, he did this all in a very short amount of time. In fact, we really didn't have enough time to do it. We were shooting last-minute schedules.
I remember with the first one, it was some ridiculous task, like we had 2 weeks to put together this entire, essentially short film shoot with props and costumes and actors and actresses and lines and the whole deal, you know, and it was essentially just me and James trying to put this entire thing together. I don't know, somehow we pulled it off and it came out really good.
This particular project was one of our most dynamic. We got to hire an extended cast, we got to build fantastic sets.
I remember James complaining about how he loves to have things perfect, and he wants to take his time doing things, but we just didn't have the time. So James really had to be creative on that. We had to come up with sets, we had to come up with actors, we had to come up with props, and he did everything. I mean, I was amazed at what he was able to do.
I think my favorite set constructed for this particular project was the inner sanctum of Sir James Hawkins, his secret room within the house in which the journals were found.
It appears that he used it as a study where he used to write, but we found that it also contained all sorts of memorabilia, both nautical and of a personal nature.
From a creative standpoint, these sets were really a lot of fun. From collecting nautical antiques to all sorts of relics, we really wanted to bring this set to life and give you the feeling that you were really there in the footsteps of Sir James Hawkins.
The piece itself, called The Lost Journals, is a mock BBC documentary. It chronicles how Sir James found the journals based on how I wrote it in the book.
We had so many actors and actresses that my job was kind of primarily revolved around coordinating with them, making sure their wardrobes were in order, getting them fed, and making sure they were, you know, ready to go and knew their lines, and, you know, just kind of the logistics of all of that.
Hi, I'm Gary Elliot, and I'm a voice actor with Indie TV. And they called on me because I can just about be anybody, anytime, anywhere, anyplace.
Some of my favorite characters came out of that project, specifically Professor Sinclair. Gary is the master. He is the man of many voices, and he can play any character. And no matter what character we give him, he somehow finds the essence of the character and brings it to life in ways that we just couldn't possibly imagine.
Action. Well, I mean, as you can see, any person of my stature would revel at the opportunity to work in the JS Company archival storehouse. Vast and inimitable storehouse, I should say, in a rather Alfred Hitchcock way.
We as actors, we like to stretch and have fun, so it also gave me an opportunity to do some on-camera work and play and take on the persona of Long John Silver. So we've just had a lot of different opportunities to stretch and explore our different talents and abilities here at Indie TV.
One thing be for sure, Jim Hawkins. You dance the easy part. It's the dying that's hard.
But I was extremely happy with the first thing that we did, and it was very well received, and it helped very immensely with selling the book and making it successful.
A new adventure awaits our discovery. 3 years after his triumphant return from Treasure Island.
Jesse James was a complete different type of a project. It was based on real people and real circumstances, namely Jesse James and his outlaws.
Whereas Return to Treasure Island was an action fantasy adventure, Jesse James' Secret is a historical documentation that needed to be represented in the proper light. We also knew we'd have many live action shots in which we'd have to recreate the historical context with accuracy. This included cowboys, horseback riding, gunplay, and everything in between.
And he had to intercut it with footage that we originally had left over from the television show to where it was like a seamless transition between what he created and what we had already created in the television show.
I think with the second one, we had even added like horses and professional riders and gun battles and all sorts of crazy stuff into it. And again, it somehow ended up being a success.
And I was lucky enough to get to work on this Jesse James project. And I couldn't get anybody but Sam Elliot as the guy, the voice, you know, Sam Elliot, sort of slow talking drawl. And again, this became an opportunity to have some fun as a voice actor and sort of pattern myself after one of Hollywood greats.
Inside this explosive new book, we explore the real motives for Jesse James robberies. How an obscure autopsy report proves the facts surrounding the death of Jesse James are a lie.
When it came down to casting this project, I had 2 actors in mind that I knew would be just perfect. Marten Richard Borg, who's not only a fantastic actor, but a trained stuntman, as well as Jason Avina, who is also an actor, fantastic trained stuntman. Both of them have extraordinary experience playing character actors, whether it's medieval knights, cowboys, barbarians, good guys, bad guys.
Jesse James' Secret was a really fun project. Being able to research a character, knowing that there's pictures out there of him, the way he looked and stuff like that. I try to get my facial hair as close as possible to pictures I've seen.
The makeup and the hair wasn't enough to transform Marten Borg into the Jesse James character. The project was I was able to hire my favorite costume designer here in San Diego, Georgette Floret. It required Jet's painstaking attention to detail to recreate the wardrobe for each cowboy.
Yeah, when I got picked up to do this part, I brought along Jason Avina, who now is a stunt coordinator. Since he has been working with quick draw, he even got a couple of good quick draws in there.
Jason Avina, who is already a well-seasoned stuntman, had already perfected his gun spinning technique. In fact, Jason spun his gun so fast we weren't able to capture it on camera. I, as a matter of fact, had to actually ask Jason to slow down the gun spin so that we could in fact capture it in the frame rate we were shooting. That's how fantastic these guys were.
So with Jesse James, you know, we had the awesome experience of actually having live horses at the ranch for our shoot and professional riders. And that was something that we had not done up to that point with any of our projects.
You could tell that the horse is used to only one rider, used to certain aspects like, you know, movement with the gun being drawn out and stuff like that. That was some difficulty, but I think all in all, it worked out pretty well. What helped was my years of experience writing at medieval times.
And it was really an amazing experience, you know, being that close with the horses as they're being ridden professionally in the environment where we're creating this story really was a magical experience and held a sense of power that we had previously been unable to capture in any of our films.
I was a little bit hesitant about it at first because I thought, how's it going to look? But truthfully, it looks fantastic. The editing is amazing, the filming is great, and the trailer itself is very, very compelling. And again, it helped move the book forward. It took it from the potential of being a mediocre trailer for a book to being a fantastic trailer for the book. And I really couldn't be happier with it.
We got to shoot on the ranch, we got to hire horses, we got to have gunfights, we got to have cowboys. It was a pretty fantastic adventure and we had a lot of fun making it.
For the first time, Jesse James' Secret reveals the true story of the enigmatic outlaw to the world. Presented by IP Silver Medal winner John O'Melveny Woods. The Seekers.
Being that this is the first of a series, John had a completely different approach to the trailer.
And so when I sat down with James and said, look, we have to create a trailer for it, he said, you know, it's going to be difficult, but I've got some great ideas. So between the two of us, we came up with sort of a teaser idea.
Instead of shooting live action, which is what we typically do, John didn't want to focus on the characterization and he didn't want to give too much away in the story. Instead, we opted on a creative montage. Using historical photos from locations of antiquities, we were able to create a montage that represents more of a broad aspect of the different mysteries represented within the book.
Again, the challenges were somewhat immense. We're talking about world monuments that everybody knows, mysterious sites and so on. We had to make sure that we didn't actually show a face because that would take away from the book. In other words, the book creates a picture of who these people are, and what we had to do in the trailer was just show outlines with no facial features. And James accomplished that in a very creative way.
This would be followed later on by more conventional trailers as the subsequent books in the series are released. Anytime the project calls for an outstanding character, we call the amazing voice artist Gary Elliot.
The Seekers was a little different because it's a little darker and kind of classic Twilight Zone television concept. And again, you know, we're having a lot of fun with The Seekers. Seek and ye shall find.
The Seekers is dynamically different than the other projects. Although the book is an action fantasy adventure, it is greatly rooted in reality.
It's different than we'd ever done, but he thought he could do it, and so he did it, and it came out amazingly well. I think that might be the best that he's ever done. It moves ahead, it's compelling, it's mysterious, and it invites people to read the book, which is the main point of the trailer anyway, right?
The Seekers. Coming October 2013.
Right now, NDTV has several more fantastic projects in the works. We're in production for John Woods' brainchild series called The Treasure Files, a real-life documentation of real-life treasure hunters and gold seekers that travel the world in search of mystery. And we're currently in production for a film called The Woman Who Cured Cancer, which is the true-life story of Dr. Virginia Wheeler.
Well, that's true. I am working on a project regarding cancer. It's an interesting project and one that I've been involved with for almost 30 years. Originally, I brought it to Oliver Stone when we created a screenplay, but it never got made. So then I got involved with Ed Adio, who wrote a book. From that point, we're doing a documentary on Dr. Virginia Livingston Wheeler, and again, James' creative way of approaching it and filming it has made all the difference. It's a moving, compelling piece. It gets the information across, and hopefully it'll save millions of lives. We filmed all of our trailers under the moniker of NDTV, which is a company that I've had for 15 years. And the reason we did that is to keep a consistency, and that was paramount on James' mind, that there was a consistent look to everything that we did. So thanks to him, we've created a wonderful venue in order to present all of the different trailers and things that we're doing. And I look forward to a long relationship in the future under NDTV and James.
These last few years with Indie TV has been a fantastic ride. I'm very proud of the work that we've done, and I'm very grateful to be a part of these projects. Although with that said, we have many more projects in the works, and to be honest, I really feel like this is just the beginning.
That's the thing I like working with Indie TV, is that I get to celebrate my independence every day. So celebrate your liberty at Indie TV.